The Palm Beach Civic Association expands its communication outreach with a state-of-the-art television studio. We call it Studio 33480, the zip code for the beautiful island of Palm Beach. Sponsored by Finley Galleries, our goal is to bring you in-depth interviews with the most colorful and knowledgeable personalities on the island. And now, our host.
Welcome to Studio 33480. I'm Wendy Rutledge. Joining us today in the studio is the chairperson for the Shore Protection Board of the town of Palm Beach. Please welcome Melissa Ceriale. Hi.
Hi, good morning, Wendy. How are you today?
Oh, very well, thanks. And thank you for being here because you folks are all over some really top-of-mind issues. And just so everyone knows, we're going to get to sargassum, but we're not going to start with sargassum. Because you folks have been incredibly industrious and busy this season working on some videos. Tell us about that project.
We have been hard at work this year. There are 4 videos that the Shore Protection Board helped produce and edit and now are distributing through the town. The first one talks a lot about the BMA, which stands for the Beach Management Agreement, that was put in place probably about 15 years ago to help us build a long-term resiliency plan for our beach shores, which are there not just for the attraction of tourists and to look pretty, but to really protect the island from hurricanes and storm damage that comes our way. So that has been in effect for a long time, and we want our residents to know just how well it's been working.
It's my understanding that not many communities have anything as comprehensive as the BMA. So Palm Beach has really kind of worked itself into a good place with this agreement, right?
Yeah, we've really taken a lead on this to show that if there's long-term action and plans put in place, it can be really effective for protection.
Terrific. Video number 2.
So video number 2 talks about hard structure technology. So all the way up and down the coast of our Palm Beach County, there have been put in place over decades groins. And groins are structures that go perpendicular to the beach and help protect or break shore wave activity as it's coming onto the island. Now, over the decades, many of those structures have deteriorated. They're crumbling, they're no longer effective, and in some situations, there can be danger associated with them for people who are boating, swimming, surfing, what have you. So we're really looking to educate the town as to what's out there and to encourage some private-public partnership on maybe repairing and rebuilding or restructuring some of these groins. So as a resident, you don't have the ability to look out your door to the ocean, if you're lucky enough to live on the ocean, and say, I have a deteriorating groin and I want to fix it. There's a whole long process on permitting that we have to go through with the DEP, with Fisheries and Wildlife. It's a long list. But we as an island, as a town, we have those permits in place. Unfortunately, we don't have all the money to just go out and repair them on our own, so hence the private-public partnership. We can help you with the permitting that you need. We'd like to encourage you as a homeowner to repair those groins, not only to take away any danger that might be in front of your property, but to help you protect your property.
So that's 2 for 2. I'm watching both of those.
Okay.
They sound really great. What about number 3?
So the third one is about Reach 8. So I say the words Reach 8. What does that mean? From the top of the island, starting at the very north tip, all the way down to the southern end to Lake Worth, the island is divided into different reaches. That's basically science conversation or science talk about how they've divided it up. So Reach 1 is at the top, Reach 4 is the Midtown Beach area, Reach 8 is way far south. Now the south end of this island has been the hardest hit on lack of beach in front of their building. So a lot of those condos down there sit very close, precipitously close to ocean wave activity, especially during storms. This is where the beach management plan has really come into effect. There are places along the island that we are not able to just take truckloads of sand and dump it in front. and that has a lot to do with the environment. There's what's called hard bottom, which is coral reef activity. So we're not allowed to just take sand and dump it on top. And Reach 8 suffers from that. There's a lot of coral reef activity in front of those
Sounds
buildings.
very challenging.
It's tricky.
Yes.
So what the BMA, that management agreement, does is it allows us to place beach sand in various different places, and then what happens is called littoral drift. So we place a lot of sand, say at Phipps Park, and we stockpile it there, and we add it continuously, because then that sand floats down and helps fill in the beaches in front of Reach 8. So they've struggled for a long time. A lot of good work has been done, and if you go down there and look, it might not yet be perfect. It's certainly a lot better than it was 15 years ago. There's still more work to be done. There's action going into effect in that area. It's been frustrating for the residents of Reach 8 because it has been a lot of additional permitting, a lot of additional steps we've had to go through. But the good news is that all the I's have been dotted, all the T's have been crossed, and we are really within reach, no pun intended, of filling the beaches further in Reach 8.
That's terrific news. Okay, video number 4.
Okay, video number 4 is on temporary and permanent easements that are needed in this town. So in order for us to do all this great beach activity, we need easements from property owners in order to access the beaches. Now, our local congresswoman, Lois Frankel, she did some really great work for us a few years ago in obtaining additional federal funding to help us rebuild our beaches after storm activity happens. Thank you, Lois. Thank you, Lois. It's been great. But in order for us to access that funding, we need to put some permanent easements in place. The federal government isn't willing to say, okay, here's a storm, now we got to go knock on doors and get everybody's sign off to go forward with the action of replacing sand on the beach. So that's why it's important, and that's why we've been asking homeowners to sign some perpetual easements in order to take advantage of those federal dollars coming our way.
Makes sense. And what that actually means is that the homeowner grants the federal government the right to cross over their property to replace sand.
Correct. Okay. It has nothing to do with the public. It has nothing to do with public access and who can be on a beach or not be on a beach or be on private property. It has nothing to do with that. We have, there are a couple of areas in town where some residents are concerned on that particular piece of it. We're doing our best to help ease those concerns so that we can put these easements in place and have access to that federal money that comes down the pike toward us.
Well, there's just a wealth of information in those 4 videos. Yeah. And of course, we will put the links to those 4 videos below this video of our interview.
Perfect.
That's where people can find it.
That would be great.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the blob, the mass stretching from, Africa to the Gulf Coast, the seaweed mess.
Yeah.
That isn't quite here yet, but we fully anticipate will be. Here you are, the Shore Protection Board. And we should say that your role is advisory.
Correct.
You cannot call the shots.
Correct.
But you can recommend
to the town council some things that we would hope or like for them to consider. Yes.
Have you formulated a position about what to do when the sargassum hits?
We're working on that now. So first of all, let me say I loved your most recent video on the blob. I thought that was great. You did a great job with that. Thank you. So yes, our job as the advisory board is just that, to advise. We had our most current Shore Protection Board meeting yesterday, and Susan and Brad Gary, who are residents here, who have sailed the world and are real mariners and know this, have actually experienced sargassum firsthand, being caught on a sailing trip in the middle of an ocean of sargassum. So it's great to hear firsthand somebody's actual experience. Because they've had such a tough experience, they have done a lot of work on research themselves. And they brought forward to us yesterday, for example, some new technology on a boat craft that can potentially scoop up and pick up some of the sargassum before it hits the shoreline. Once this hits the shore, it becomes very heavy, it piles up quickly, and starts releasing toxic fumes. The north end of the island, as Maggie said in your recent video, really was devastating to the north end last summer. What we're seeing now is possibly even more coming our way. Another piece of technology that we have access to is the Woods Hole Group, which is the consultancy group that the town hired to help us look at our whole resiliency on the island. And they have access to radar activity, and they're monitoring what's happening with it right now. Now, we don't know what Mother Nature is going to do. Is she going to blow it our way? Is it going to go off coast further? We don't know. If you fly overhead now, just about everybody looking out their plane window is seeing what looks like an oil slick going through the Atlantic Ocean. That's the sargassum, and that's just the tip of the iceberg coming our way. Hopefully not coming our way, but potentially. So it's a lot happening. Our goal is to use this technology to watch what's happening so we can be prepared, to maybe have some things in place, of which I think Rob Weber talked about with you yesterday. What do we do with it when it does hit the shore? Rake it up, bury it in the wet sand. If we need to, possibly even bury more in the dry sand. Third step would be to truck it off the island. Where does that go? Those are all things that we're putting in place.
Well, you've done so much groundwork already, and I want to thank you for coming in here. I feel like I've got homework, which is to watch all 4 of those videos, and we will share it with the folks that watch us.
Thank you.
Melissa, thanks so much.
Thank
and
you.
Keep up the good work.
I would say one more thing,
Yeah.
is that anybody on the island who might have interest in hosting a coffee or a cocktail on what's happening with the shores and protection of the island, there are 7 or 8 of us on the Shore Protection Board, and all of us are available to pop in, say hello, have a conversation with their local neighbors and neighborhood on what we're doing, and to help share those videos and talk them through.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Wendy.
Appreciate it. And that does it for us here in the studio. As always, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time right here in Studio 33480.
Studio 33480 is brought to you by the Palm Beach Civic Association, our sponsor, Finley Galleries, and our viewers. We welcome your thoughts on how our programming can best serve our members and residents.